Hello everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Your Access China Videocast. This is what we try to do every month. Well, we're both here, right? Hello Anna, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. It's good to meet you and everybody online once again.
Yeah, I have a big confession to make. It's a bit embarrassing, but in March we didn't do any videocast, and we had a super good reason for it. We didn't have time, I think, or something like that. It was basically no good reason for it. But I don't know what to do about that. I mean, like I'm a perfectionist. I feel like we need to do like an extra one soon or something. I don't know, Anna. Like, do we have any excuse?
No, I mean it's like especially the end of March was very busy, and I think we just have a deficit to fill in. So maybe in May we can come up with two. Why
Yeah,
not?
I mean, we were busy. We were doing the science communication training that we'll be discussing in this video cast today. But also another update is that Eurex's office here in Beijing has moved into a little bit more of a permanent situation. We moved out of the Kempinski shared offices again back into like a private space, which is really nice. So in March, probably about the time when I was bumming out and not doing videocast as I should have. I was painting the walls, making it look like a super cool startup or whatever. It's nice. And this is the first time that we're actually videocasting from the new office, so that's really, really cool. I do notice though, I don't know if you hear it, Anna, but it's a little bit echo. It's like a, do you hear echo?
Not really. I think your sound is okay to me. It could be a bit better, but I don't really feel any echo luckily.
It's high ceilings in here, so I might want to put up some acoustic panels later when we have time. But yes, we have had a really crazy last 5 weeks or so. We did do our science communication training, which is always a big hassle. This is the second time that we did a science communication training. Clearly, for those of you that are familiar with what we do here at Science in Euroaccess China, you might be familiar with the Science Slam. We did one last year in December when we did this hybrid online, offline, virtual reality science slam, bringing together scientists from all over China to compete in who is the best at presenting and performing and communicating their science to the general public. And we had amazing experience with that. That was the sixth science slam that we did. And in that year, in 2021, we decided to try to sort of expand a little bit what we can do with this concept by offering a whole training series on how to do science communication several months before the competition opened. And that was really good. I think it was really successful. We had hundreds of people participating, including some people that in the end decided to join our science slam. So that was really successful. And based on that, we decided to take a step further this year and like continue doing this, create the science communication training again, but not only fixating, like focusing too much on like how to be on stage and blah 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 and talking in the television or something like that, but also just like how to communicate your science more in general. So in addition to like the normal stuff, we had all kinds of really interesting sessions this year that I think were really really useful for the participants. And we will maybe just like mention it, go through them one by one. But the first thing that we did do, the very first science communication training started in late March on a Wednesday when we were joined by the winner of the Science Slam from December, Dr. Alvaro Castells, who joined us to go through sort of the basics of science communication, the most traditional, most fundamental thing, how to make sure that your science communication is really interesting and how to be a good science slammer, I guess. So what I was thinking we could do right now is take a quick look at what he had to say before we continue going onward. So let me put that on right now.
proselytizing, let's talk a little bit about tips and tricks, basic tricks for science communication. So Haldor has already introduced this, but this is the one I'm going to spend the longest on, because I feel that this is the one that we as scientists fail more often, which is adequation of the message. We need to always, the first step when you're trying to decide what you're going to tell is to say, who am I telling it for? You have to adapt the message to the type of public. You have to understand what your public knows, and unless you're absolutely 100% sure, you need not to assume any previous knowledge. This, ironically, the more experienced a researcher is, the more he knows about the topic, it's something that we fail the most. Because suddenly what you're working in, you have been working for 20 years, it's second nature for you, it's so obvious to you, and you tend to forget that things that are obvious to you, people do not know. So what's the first thing that I have said today? I work in chromatin architecture and super resolution microscopy. Maybe some people here know what this is, but most people here, for them, it would have been the same if I had said, I work in blah, 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 blah. Like, it makes no sense for most people. So that was useless. I just spent 20 seconds in a useless bit. So what I want to say with this is, for example, I work in biology. If I was working, talking about RNA polymerase, if I want to introduce the concept of phosphorylation of RNA polymerase, and I wanted to talk with somebody about this, if it's somebody from my lab, I can begin there. But you have to think, you have to go before that. If I talk about RNA polymerase, I need to introduce what's RNA, I need to introduce what's DNA, I need to introduce what is the nucleus, and sometimes, if, for example, you're working with children, you need to introduce what a cell is. And this is the most common mistake. And I know that I'm going one and again and again and again, but I'm very tired of hearing very, very, very good scientists that talk to a common public and begin to talk about Western blots or about string theory or about things in which you have lost people in the first 5 minutes. And then what you're doing is basically hearing yourself talk. So Haldor calls it KISS. I call it explain it to your grandma.
All right. So that was him. Sorry, Alvaro, cutting you off at this point. If you guys are interested in hearing the whole presentation by Alvaro, we did upload it to all our channels. So you should be able to see it on our website, a link to it, but it's on our YouTube. For those of you that are not in China, if you're in China, you can find it on our Yoko channel, alongside with all the other sessions that we did, because that was only the first Wednesday. After that, we did 4 more, 5 in total, every Wednesday, every week until last week, basically. So Anna, maybe you could tell us a little bit about what we did in the second edition of the Science Communication Training.
Yes, happy to. Also because I thought it was interesting and probably one of the most successful, at least in terms of participation. We had this new trainer, a new topic compared to last year's edition. We chose to focus on how to face the job interview, how to prepare yourself to talk in front of an evaluation panel. And we had Dean O'Hogan, that is this Irish training and career coach that had a very, very practical, I would say, kind of training. Dean has been working as a trainer for many, many years. So I myself thought that he had a lot of experience to share. That's why the training was also so interesting. So he talked about the different type of job interviews you might need to prepare yourself for, which kind of questions, how to prepare for the interview, what to do during the day of the interview, and even like after, how to follow up. and also a little bit of how to get there and how to write down a CV that impress, but it's not too long, and so attract the right attention. I thought it was also very interesting, and we also had a great number of questions from the audience. So for those of you who missed it and are going to watch the recording, you might also find, I think, a lot of nice hints coming from the questions of the participants themselves. So this was it. This was our second science communication training session of this year. And well, let me move on as well to the third topic, because that was also very new and I think very interesting for a researcher, especially those who are at the beginning of their careers. Because our third topic was how to publish in academic journal. And I guess there's no researcher out there who won't have to publish at least once in their life. So it was definitely a topic of interest. And we were so lucky to have the support and collaboration of Taylor and Francis for this webinar. It's the first time that we organize a webinar with them, but I think we will do more, because the speaker who was with us, Henrietta Thompson, and he was really very, very professional. You really see when a person also loves the job she's doing. So she gave us a presentation touching on like how to prepare your manuscript, how to choose the journal where to apply for to publish your paper, how to prepare for peer review, and how to respond to the comments. They might not always be, very pleasant, and of course they need to be critical, right? And she also talked about open access, what are the benefits of it, and also replied to a lot of questions. There was also a little bit of a debate, an interesting conversation that went on with some of the participants, exactly about the peer review, and also how to avoid getting into scams, and how to avoid to getting in touch with fake publishers who wants just to get your paper and then disappear. It was also like pretty hands-on and interesting, I would say. And but we also touched on other different topics, and maybe I let Hauser continue.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, like, I really agree. I thought the one with Taylor and Francis was super good. A lot of our colleagues have been doing like webinars with Taylor and Francis on a lot of other topics as well. So I agree on that. We should really look into working with them more. I mean, like, there are hardly more experts that exist on journal publishing. I mean, like, they're one of the biggest journal company in the world, like publishing house in the world when it comes to scientific journals and so on. So that was really good. And like you said, I also really enjoyed the questions that came afterward, the discussion. There were more experienced researchers that were sharing their experience with this and so on, and that really worked out really well, which also shows you, like, it's one thing to watch it and watch a recording, but actually participating can be really nice. And a lot of people did. We had like over 100 participants for this one, so that was a really good one. And after that, in the fourth week and the second to last, we did our fourth science communication training in cooperation with a partner here in Beijing. So like, this was jointly organized by Your Access China and the DAAD, the German Academic Exchange Center China office. So the reason why we decided to team up with them this year to do a couple of the last science communication trainings is because they are actually quite experienced when it comes to this. They do organize now the Beijing edition of the Falling Walls, which is this 3-minute PITS competition, science communication competition that is held all over the world in hundreds of different locations, where people scientists and innovators, they participate and get selected to go to Berlin to participate in this event that is called Falling Walls, and it's quite big and interesting. And I've been following for several years how they do this, and I really admire. I think it's a good competition. So we invited the DAD to kind of like put hands together and with us to organize something like this. And we thought it would be a great opportunity also because like in the same way that the people that are going for the Falling Walls, they're a little bit similar to our participants in the Science Slam in the sense that they might benefit a lot from preparing for this competition by learning a little bit about how to do these sort of things. And in this case, in the fourth episode with the DAD, we decided to focus a little bit on how to do elevator pitches, how to do short pitches to convince another person that what you are trying to do is somehow a good thing, something desirable. Basically, how to persuade somebody to go on your point, to accept what you're saying and so on in as short of a time as possible. This is what we call an elevator pitch. And it really helps, it really connects to the Falling Walls, because over there it's all about these 3 minutes pitches where you have to be able to, within 3 minutes, to catch everybody's attention and convince them. And the DAD was really cool. We had Melanie Spetze, who's the vice director of the Beijing office, who was moderating for us for this one. And she also brought on board Bill Xu, who is the director of the SAP Labs China Digital School, who is this Shanghai-based, I mean, like SAP is this German company, one of the biggest software company in the world, and they're doing all of these innovative things. And Bill Xu is running the digital school where they're teaching people exactly to do these sort of things. And he had amazing turn of he spent like 40-50 minutes discussing how to structure an elevator pitch, and including giving us a example of how it could look like. So that was really, really clever. Then we had him followed by a testimony from the runner-up winner of the Falling Walls last year, Miss Amy Chi Indigo. Did I say that right? Chi Indigo. Actually, really cool name, honestly. And she's really cool. I think that was a really true pleasure, because she's a truly talented science communicator. And in addition to sharing her experience, sharing some tips and recommendations, she also did her 3 minutes pitch in live in front of everybody to kind of like show people how you could, on the one hand, talk about something, and on the other hand, like really perform to try to be a convincing in your argument, which was really cool. And that's not all. For those of you that are interested in Falling Walls, seeing Emmy's testimony surely must have been really educating and informative. But we also had the true pleasure of having with us Corinna Luther, who is the head of the Falling Walls lab in Berlin. So she spoke to us from Germany and shared with her views and experience on this. So that was pretty cool as well. So I think this is a really good one if you're thinking about like looking back at any of the trainings that we did, finding the recordings. You should definitely look at this, and in particular take a look at Amy's example. That I think that's a really good starting point for anybody that's interested to see how a good science communication piece is supposed to look like. That brings me to the last science communication training session of this season. We did that one also with the DAD. We had Melanie with us once more to do the last one, and we decided to do a little bit of an experiment. It's not super connected to communication as we think about it normally, but it does communicate to it in the sense that a lot of the reasons why people go for something like the Falling Walls and go up on a stage and express something about their ideas is because they are interested in taking like a scientific idea and make it into reality. So we decided to dedicate the last part of our science communication training to that exactly. How do you take an academic idea as an academic person and move into the world of innovation, entrepreneurship, and industry? And this is something that we have been really interested in many years. This is something that's super useful for scientists and researchers to learn about, and we decided just to go for it and try to talk about this, you know, in some way. And I think it was really quite successful. So the way that we decided to do it was twofold. First of all, we got with us this scientist, researcher, and academic, Dr. Ulf Richter, who is based in Hong Kong and is also this serial entrepreneur who moved out of academia and started up these different companies and so on. And he shared his experience with that and answered questions, and that was really cool. Then, just to see how it looks like from the other side of the aisle, out of like personal curiosity almost, I want to see how people in industry sees this, you know, how they see researchers and scientists and innovators when it comes to these people approaching them. So we did have with us from Audi China, the change manager of their R&D department, Mr. Christian Jensen. So he came to describe that, and that was really cool and interesting because that's not something you normally hear about, I think, if you're in academia. And it really gave a fresh perspective on that point. And I myself learned a lot from that. So that was really cool. And actually, we did use the opportunity during that presentation to announce that Audi and Euraccess China will be kind of cooperating on the Science Slam this year, and they will be sponsoring one of our sponsoring one of our prizes. Yeah, the innovation prize for it. And we're also going to be getting involved in their Horizons Beyond innovation incubator that's going to be taking place in next month. We will be talking about science communication there, etc. So all of that is super cool and exciting. We haven't been doing a lot of it throughout the years in Euraccess to work with industry, but it's certainly something that we would love to do more of. We think it would be beneficial to our members and so on, and of interest to everybody involved to do more of this. So that is really exciting, and I'm really happy that this is something that we managed to pull off. So that brings us to the end of the science communication training, right, Anna? So what now? What do we do now?
Oh, it's not finished. Like last year, we're going to have the big final event, the Science Slam. And so at the moment, we are receiving the applications, the requests for certificates. So all of those who participated in one or multiple training are now asking to get their certificate. We have different kind of tiers according to the number of training people participated into, and we even have the diamond certificate. That is for those that decide to send us a video that think that they really learned a bit of new skills during the science communication training. I want to show them to us. So they record themselves presenting their research project in a short pitch, and we give them a feedback. We give them suggestions what to improve, what they're doing very good. And you know, that is also a step forward in the direction of getting ready for the Science Slam. And you know, I'm expecting it to be quite competitive because last year we really had quite a few good communicators, and especially the top two were really close in terms of the votes they got at the end of the competition. So I hope that it's going to be again competitive and a lot of fun. So for those of everybody who participated, if you haven't sent us your request for a certificate, please do, so we can check that you're eligible and you can get your Euraccess China Science Communication certificate. And for those who didn't join the training, you can watch the recording. Probably we're going to have another edition next year, because it looks like edition by edition is getting more successful. So I hope we will continue on this trend. But stay tuned for the Science Slam, because that is really a good opportunity. If you think you're a science communicator, you can communicate your science well. And if you think you can, be one of the best, then that is a very good, ground. to train yourself and to compete with other good communicators and see if you really can get one of our prizes. So yeah, stay tuned because we will announce this in the second half of the year. There's going to be a bit of time for everybody to train, but that is going to be, the next big step after the end of the training. So.
Yeah, cool. So like Anna said, go for it, get the certification. We know that there's over 400 people that are eligible for something here. So if you haven't let us know yet that you are eligible, you should just do it right now. And you know what? If you want to get a certificate, you could also ask us to get a pen. What am I even talking about? No, okay. I just figured out. So like, I just moved to this new office, and when I came here, I moved all the UX and stuff that we have with us, and we have more than 1,000 of these pens. and so
which are very valuable anyway.
Super valuable, and anybody that wants a UX pen can get it. I mean, like, yeah, just ask me, send me a message on WeChat, and I'll send you a pen for free. I promise. It's really cool.
Or even better, pass by to the office, meet Helger for a coffee, see the new office, and get also a pen home with you.
Yeah, now we're in a good place. This is exactly it. So here I have a better offer. For those of you that come to the office, you get this fancy pen, even more beautiful pen. Like it also has UXs on it, so on, and somehow we have like a middle fancy also. This is like not as good. I don't know. We have like hundreds of pens. So like Anna said, come by the office and get some. If you come to the office, you get a nice pen. If you come and if you want any pen, I'll send this one here free to you all. I feel like what do they call it? Like a used Bible salesman at the moment. Like, come here and win a pen. Join our event and get a free pen. Anyway. No, I'm just riffing here. Obviously, that was not the idea. But seriously, though, if you want the pen, you can get one. We have way too many of them. I don't know what to do with them. They're supposed to go out and be spread out to people during events, but we haven't been able to do a lot of physical events lately. So, like Anna said, come to our office. We have a new office. Maybe next time we'll be able to show you here the whole palace. That would be really cool. And yeah, anything more to add, Anna? I think we're good for now, right?
I think we're good for today, and we really need to book our time for next month to make sure that we have one or even two videocasts. So I'll say goodbye, everybody, and see you the next time.
All right. Bye-bye.